I I was gonna do the theme song from Secret Circle, but I forgot it in the last 3 minutes. I think it's because I was watching Kelly Nova's or Tony Stark Age of Ultron closet cosplay over on youtube.com/lovable varmint. So yeah, go check that out. It's pretty impressive. And Kelly's great as always. It's actually kind of weird to see her contained inside the Stark character and not be her usual outrageous self. Um, so I think between Warring, she hit kind of like a soft neutral between the two colors. So that's words and stuff. I'm Kamurai. I'm here to talk about things and stuff I watched on the internets and such. Being that Red vs. Blue has started back up, and I forgot to talk about it, I think, last time, honestly. Oh, because it was a PSA. On episode 4, we saw like Tucker's key sword thing like activate the alien technology again, and it caused a bunch of problems for all sides. And for however, like it happened in episode 5, we see everyone dealing with it. They make some great plans, and they decide to pursue the spot on the map they saw. But of course, and fuck it, spoilers. Of course, Felix and Locust end up seeing that map too. I don't know how they did, so that would be the spoiler if I knew that. But I can't wait for them to get Agent Maine back on his feet. Shark face. The meta was such a cool thing. It's probably like my favorite thing out of all of Red vs. Blue. That I think it's a shame that Miles has decided to twist him as he's doing, at least in identity. Like the character himself, of course. But yeah, go over to roosterteeth.com, watch Red vs. Blue, be a sponsor. I am. They're pretty funny in general. Community has not failed to impress is the wrong word. Entertain me. Let's say that. They did a thing where everyone signs up. I don't know how they signed up, like in the middle of a semester is what it seemed like. They signed up for a grifting 101 class. And the guy who played the new boss on the IT crowd is the one who shows up to be the grifter. And then Jeff, of course, has to be better than everyone, so he claims to be a grifter and tries to outgrift the grifter, and the grifter doesn't recognize. Okay, it's a big thing about grifting and pulling cons, and you would think they would Jeff would be better at it, but he's better at talking his way around stuff because he was a lawyer that wasn't a lawyer, so it's a con of sorts. But the point was that Jeff was good at being a lawyer, and that's what he was doing. And this is grifting. And I hate that they use the word so fucking much. Like fucking grifter. Like that's the end of the usage for the word. You don't grift this and grift that. And like this is a grift and that's a grift. It's mostly cons. And then of course they have special little names and shit, but whatever. Okay, Weird Loners is starting to spiral out of control, I think. I don't know if they're trying to set up too much or too little or what, but like for whatever reason they introduced Stosh's kid. So they have a whole episode rather early on, I would think, to reveal this sort of thing, unless the kid's going to be a regular part, that Stosh is in fact a father, and he's just now reconnecting with his kid after 10 years or something. And the kid's like this little sociopath, kind of like Stosh, but less sexual. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say. So, yeah, it's neat to see them connect over the Godfather of all movies. And not Danny, man. Eric, that's his name, kind of gets put out in this one a little bit. He's the voice of innocence and reason in all this. And then the girls kind of have their own story. It's, you know what this feels like? I think this is one of the reasons why I liked it, because of the way. Be nice, you little bitch. Jesus. Like, tried to fight 3 of them. Don't make me throw my phone at you. Go away. So the reason I think I liked Weird Loners is that I saw its potential in how you make up things. I think what this actually should have been was possibly like 4 shows or 2 shows that consistently had crossovers. So like, let's pretend like each character has their own show, their own storyline. That's what they're going to have anyways. And then they keep showing up in each other's show. That's what we're seeing. And I think the design is supposed to make it look like Friends, because Friends had very overlapping things. You had 6 characters, sometimes 8, depending upon who was hooking up with who, all interweaving with each other and showing up in each other's stories. And so, like, a lot of shows have tried to copy that. You see Big Bang doing that. You see How I Met Your Mother try to do that. At least during the stretch, they did that. You saw 2 Guys and a Girl do that. I mean, if we want to go back, so you're seeing Weird Loners do this now, and I'm hoping it works for them. But it looks like they don't have enough show per storyline, so they're just combining stories into episodes, which I don't really like. But at least it's all congruent, or not congruent, chronological. But we got to, but we're I don't know, we're 5 episodes in, and we're seeing like just lots of setup, and we're establishing characters still, which I think we should have been done with by episode 4. But we're seeing needy Karen and why she chases away everybody. So like, there's kind of been that explanation. I think next episode should be all about Zara probably. So tomorrow we'll see. And see why she's a hot mess, because Sasha has a couple of chances. Kara's actually had a couple episodes at this point. Or Karen, not Kara. Eric's had a whole almost a dedicated episode, but not quite. Stasha's was definitely last week's. So I'm hoping they kind of like move forward, because right now they're just kind of running around setting things up, and like on One Big Happy, they set it up really fast. And I want to say, maybe I'm wrong about this. I thought this was like Ellen DeGeneres' show, and I very much picture Liza Cuthbert playing Ellen DeGeneres, like a younger Ellen DeGeneres, like when she was first like getting really famous. I could see her having this role. And I think Liza Cuthbert has definitely dedicated herself to that character's persona, and left off whatever cutesy wootsiness or whatever that she's had in the past. For the better, we'll say. She definitely hasn't lost any attractive qualities. But she does kind of like pale next to Simone Birch a little bit. But she's very in this like stone straight-laced character that has her very particular jokes. And it is kind of running a hard stereotype, whether or not it's true, because I don't know those types of lesbians. And the guy who's playing Luke is actually doing really well with it too. I'm not to leave him behind the ladies, but all the characters really like own their, all the actors really own their characters, and all these characters were built up really fast into the situation, well enough that you hardly notice. And so by like we're on episode 6 now. So like by episode like 2 or 3, we're well established, and we started getting the gimmicks in like 4, 5, and 6. I would say Undateable actually has a similar thing, but we're in season 2 for that one, so it's a different story. We actually have a whole season of setup with a different storyline, and then we're continuing a new story with the same characters. That's how it feels, at least. When you because they kind of rebooted. They didn't like go back in time, but they went, okay, all that happened, but we don't give a shit. Like they had like 1 or 2 episodes that addressed it, but we're moving forward regardless. Especially Bursky. Bursky is starting to become slowly lovable. He's kind of been the Howard Wolowitz of the show. Forgive me. And he's slowly growing on us. And the idea, I think, is that he's slowly going to turn around and he's really, truly going to win Leslie's heart. But I still kind of want to see Leslie and Justin bang, even if it's like a one-off. Because I think that they would really work well as a couple. And then Bursky actually becomes the hero by waiting the long haul. Even if he does confront Justin at some point, because that's where I would like to see Justin and Bursky kind of have it out, and then Bursky like confront, dominate, win, and actually just bow out of it, because if that's what she wants, that's what she wants, and that's what Bursky's all about, is making her happy, which I like. And then it'll be something that comes back up later when things start to cool off between Leslie and Justin. But the whole thing with Justin dating Danny's sister is just going to be priceless. And I know he's like the main character, like one of the main characters, because it's an Odd Couple show, but Danny kind of sits aside like on a lot of this. I think either because he's the character's constantly trying to get attention, or because all the characters in this show are so lovable. It's I mean, like, I don't think there's a single character in here that's not great. Yeah, even the little waitress girl, like, she's pretty good. And Danny too. I'm not saying he's not. But those are probably the two weaker characters out of everybody. The Flash got a little interesting. Let's move on to the Flash. Despite the time travel mumbo jumbo memory nonsense, and I still don't know how he figured it out, but Eobard Thane, they figure out the thing with Wells. They find Gideon, of all things, and Gideon talks to him, and Barry has command override access because reasons. I'm still not sure how Gideon came back in the past with him in the state that she's in. Like, that room, he obviously built that room. But now Eobard Thane is active. We know Harrison Wells is gone, so they have to run Star Labs without Harrison Wells. And now Eddie knows that he and Eobard are related somehow, and we really don't know what's going to happen with that. I figured that, like, Eddie would become Eobard, and that's how it would work. But there's enough of a time difference there that I don't know. I don't know how Eddie would become a speedster like that. So there's a lot of things up in the air, and I don't know enough about the Flash comics. I know enough about him from the cartoon, or I know a minimal amount of them from the cartoon, and I like my Flash jokey and quirky like he is there. Like the Flash that won the hot dog eating contest when he was playing at home by himself. That sort of Flash. But we'll just have to see kind of what comes of it. I'm just glad it's getting interesting. Flash is finally starting to come into his own, and without Harrison Wells there to back him up, I think he'll be forced to up the ante a little bit there. Over on Arrow, ever interesting. If like the show is complicated on such a great level. Like, I really like it, but it almost kills it in itself. It gets weighed down in its own heaviness. There we go. Because I like the parts where, like, they have funny little moments. I want to be able to appreciate Felicity getting her son when she gets her son. All the character infighting and the writers playing with our emotions over the character. That's all great. That's all great things. It's all similar to things that you see in Batman, except we know, I think, that Arrow has kind of a similar but more laid back community around him. And then with the Flash and the Atom so close by, and then later on when they all meet, like Superman and Wonder Woman, all the super friends, like I think that definitely adds some things. But like I like that Arrow and Batman have their own little social circles. And they're not necessarily friends, they're not really co-workers, and they're really not even apprentices to the Master. But I do like that, like the first Robin, Timothy Drake, no, not Timothy Drake. Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing, and then Jason Todd becomes the Red Hood, a villain or criminal or hero, anti-hero in his own right. And then Timothy Drake, if I remember, is the last one. Whether or not he's dead, I can't remember. I want to say there was some news story about like Batman holding a dead little boy in a Robin costume, but I mean, you had spoiler, I think, before him, Stephanie Brown. I don't know. Oh, it's such a rich thing. I'm getting into comics when I should be talking about shows. But Oliver's starting to take the role seriously in the League of Assassins. Whether he's brainwashed or not is another thing entirely. So we'll see more about that. I'm really hoping when we wrap up these seasons, they really end on a hard. Oh, this is as good as Daredevil and whatnot. And I look forward to the next seasons as much as I do Luke Cage, because I want that show. I'm sorry, I'm reading the description for iZombie, and like that is not what I remember. But yeah, so apparently some pregnant girl was kidnapped in the woods, and she runs onto some campsite, and then she dies, and Liv eats her brains. The baby survived. That was the thing. So the supposed father, they're trying to like nail him down for the murder, but it turns out like there's other things afoot, with help from actually the parents, I want to say. They prove that it's not him. And do I want to spoil it? Spoilers. It turns out to be a mother-sister cult thing. They never really explained it because the douchebag captain, who shouldn't be going out on these raids, especially so little manned, it was all detectives. The fuck? Was all zombied out. But the important thing is that he recognizes that Liv's a zombie. Whether or not Liv recognizes that he's a zombie is another thing, because the Caucasian zombies apparently wash out really bad. But Asian and African skins don't. Maybe that's just how it is. Blade never got pale. Oh, Gotham. Pfft, I'm not watching you. Grim, you don't know Jack Edition. I sorry, I laugh every time I say that, and then I think of like nothing, Jon Snow. This is one of the best little storylines that they've had, and I don't know why they waited so long. There was like 6 to 8 episodes of basically filler nonsense, where the only thing interesting going on was Juliet's storyline. And then when Juliet's storyline gets this interesting, I mean, you've got Adeline and Juliet in the mix. I don't know why they even bothered, but they tried to get Juliet to drink a Hexen Beast suppressant, and they let their only Hexen Beast on their side drink it. And then they lost the sample. They had to fight Juliet. You got Kenneth ready to like pounce on everybody, get the child back. They supposedly have Nick's mom back on the way. And I don't know why Nick wouldn't have sent some kind of communication being like, white noise, radio silence, or something you would think. So like Grimm's actually getting really good all of a sudden. And the only thing I can hope for is that they put Bree Turner in like a hooker outfit to try to entice Jack the Ripper. It's the only thing that like would be super like cherry on the sundae here. I guess they could. I mean, Juliet's not on their side, so they can't use Juliet. Adeline's pregnant, so I don't think that's gonna happen. But it would be a lot cooler to put a Hexen Beast there than a Folk Spell. But I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's gonna be a thing in this next episode because they're gonna need a plant. They're gonna need bait. She's really the only option. Over on Supernatural, Claire Novak, is that her name? Yeah. So Claire is back in the picture. She's gone following the lead on her mom. Because this was something they really glanced over, that her mom was kidnapped shortly after her dad disappeared. I think she might have mentioned in passing that her mom left, which is why she was in the group home thing anyways. But like, you never really thought to track her down. Nobody did, really. That's just something we let go. It's kind of, it feels like we had this great story, and then the network said we had to wait. We couldn't air it because we had to air the other story, and then so they had to rewrite it to fit it in here. And I'm glad they did, because it was actually really good. But I was disappointed in Castiel. I would have thought he would have been able to step it up again a notch there. I'm not going to spoil anything there, but there was definitely a scene where like I was like, "Oh, do it, Castiel, be the angel we want you to be," and nope. Agent of Shield. How do we say this? Okay, so like Shield, and Coulson Shield all team up, sacrifice a big jet to slip the cloak bus into a Hydra base, infiltrate, do a mission to retrieve Deathlock and the electrically powered guy. I can't remember his name. And of course, somebody gets the idea to kill somebody else. And I'm not going to spoil any of this because this is a really good episode. When I say I'm not going to spoil it, trust me, you need to watch this episode. And there's all these wonderful things happening. So dirty double crosses, etc. And by the end of it, I was definitely left amazed that like that's how they ended it. Especially given that those two kind of parted ways. But the most important thing is that Coulson got to shove it in old guy's face. And we got to see somebody from the movies show up. So that doesn't get you to the end of the episode. I don't know what will. New Girl, Pantygate. I was really disappointed in this. I thought like it would have been something like her character owned. And I really liked Zoe. I liked Zoe Lister-Jones. She's been good in the things I've seen her in. I wanted to see more of her. I was starting to really like Moscato's character, but like she just like we twisted her the most douchebag wussy way possible, because I was picturing her as a powerful character, and like this was like the coward's way out for politicians. And then Schmidt had to go along and play like, "Oh, I don't like panties. I'm a sick man." What the fuck are you doing, guy? It's no. Own it. Be like. I actually liked her power emanates from the vagina thing, like, and because like the picture was proof of it. I mean, look, I'm everywhere, and I can still hold it together. Vote Moscato, the flower you'd pick. I don't know, something like that, but it's just ridiculous. And then there was a whole thing with Coach, and it really took a back seat too, with Coach trying to move to New York for the girl. So that's kind of him leaving the show as far as I'm seeing, until like the Coach show spinoff happens, which you could make happen, but not if he's going to be like he was acting in that episode. I don't know. Like, okay, so the middle investigates like couples having like, I didn't want to do that. A date night. And I agree with the show that date night means that you should go out and have a date night, not necessarily at home, unless you can get rid of everybody. But if you're as exhausted as these people tend to be, doing as little as they like to actually do, then you fall asleep a lot, especially when the movie's shitty, boring, you didn't actually want it. So yeah, like I don't know, that whole point. Just I'm not saying you get old and fall asleep. I mean, I'm fading out as we speak, but oh God, it was that, and then like I think I remember Sue being in a prom dress and covered in cheese. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And then like Brick and Axel were trying to like Axel at the point of dropping out of college, trying to sell barbecue sauce, and they couldn't figure out how to turn it like full circle. Like they had a good product, they just didn't write anything down, so they didn't know how to make it again. They didn't have any startup capital. They didn't like go about any of it right. They could have like really done it. I think like the marketing was perfect. Like I really want to see that on the shelf now. Um, and then Sue, like the dorkable girl getting the super hot model guy. Like I like that spin, especially for her, because the whole joke is that Sue never wins at anything, and you could consider that a victory if a shallow one. So yeah, like good for her, even if she got her dress. I didn't like it that her dress that much, but she got it covered with cheese. Which I don't know how that machine's supposed to work, but it shouldn't be doing that. um, okay, Modern Family is kind of a funny one in the episode's integrity, but Cam and Mitchell are trying to go around the bush talking about having another kid. They babysit Joe. Yeah, I think that's who it is. And then they realize how old and tired they are, and they appreciate Lily a lot more afterwards. Which, so I don't know if the message is like appreciate the kids you got and don't worry about getting new ones. But and I really do appreciate adoption being there as an option for people who can't have, and it's not an excuse for you to get pregnant and sell your kid. But I do appreciate being there for those who can't, but like those people who try to buy up families. Like, A, where'd you get all that money? And B, like, I don't appreciate you nearly as much. You better be raising them right. Family Guy seemed like a real one, like up the alley for HBO. Not HBO, the channel, Hollywood Babylon, Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman. It's a Liam Neeson episode. And I'm really waiting for like the fan animated picture of Liam Neeson's cock fighting Peter. But Peter, like, apparently has been getting drunk for years, claiming he can beat up Liam Neeson and that he's a fake guy. And then there's this whole thing about Liam Neeson, like, killing wolves as a hobby, like, by the hundreds, like, by the pack. And then Peter still pursues him, which shows the idiot side of Peter. But I don't remember them cutting away to any other story. Oh, I do. Yes. I'm sorry. Stewie, like Lois is helping at Stewie's preschool, and Stewie was jealous of another boy. So he tries to seduce the boy's mom as a baby would. And it was really awkward, I think, for everyone. And then Liam Neeson kicks the shit out of Peter, and the day got a little better. But was this the same episode that had Quagfest? There was something, I don't know if it was last week or this week, but like there was something about like Quagmire's 1000th sexual conquest. That's what it was. They started out there and then they left Quagfest to go follow the Liam Neeson thing. And he said apparently his 1000th conquest was going to be a largemouth bass. Like that was less funny than the virtual sex with Glenn Quagmire booth, which was you sit down, you put the thing on, and you're trying to watch a movie, it seems, where like Quagmire hands you a drink, and then like everything fades out, and then everything fades into the cab where he's sitting there by. And that wasn't that funny. The largemouth bass joke wasn't that funny. And then, like, to top it off, to make it just a little bit weirder, there was apparently, like, an old Mary Poppins and, like, 6 kids there. Like, there was like, oh, I thought he was going to have regular intercourse. Children were out of here. So we've got to add scarring children to the things that aren't funny on that episode. Like, I get it's a joke. It's kind of funny that someone would think about putting that in the show. Like, that would be a joke. If they're like, guys, how should we write this episode? I don't know, Jeeves. Well, what if we have Mary Poppins there, and she's got 6 kids with her to watch Quagmire with the fish? No, that wouldn't work at all. Like, that scene's kind of funny. But, like, I don't think the scene that they actually put in was funny. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This is weird. So Peralta's and Amy, whatever her name is. Why is her name not up there with Jake's? That's stupid. Amy and Jake had put on a case. Santiago, that's her name. Case with this detective that even Jake thinks is cooler than he is. And then, like, they do a case. They work it out. Turns out the cool detective's into Amy. So Peralta spends the whole time trying to, like, get the courage to ask her out. Ends up solving the case almost on accident. And then the dude decides to ask Amy out. They go have a date or whatever. And then there was a thing that this is just very important. Rosa said that she does the double little tuck with her hair behind her ears when she's really infatuated with somebody. That's not how Rosa talks at all. Rosa actually talks more like this. Bruh, bruh, bruh. So, like, apparently we see that with her and Jake, which, if that was going to work, she would have been having to do it the whole season, and I'm not going back to watch to figure that out. But the whole point is that Amy's back into Peralta. And then we thought Terry was going to leave to go to, like, another force or security option or something. But the thumbnail's hilarious because Terry's like this huge muscular black guy. And there's like this puffy vest out of the swag that he liked. And they put him in the bathroom and he squeezes it and then all the feathers pop out the top. And that right there alone is worth watching the entire episode for. So go find that scene in that show and watch that because you'll be entertained. Last Man on Earth. I kind of thought that the show would go this way, but I didn't know when it was going to happen. So I was actually really surprised to both be like, yes, I knew that was going to happen. And they're like, oh, it's going to happen now. I hate that they're calling him Tandy in the description, but Tandy kind of gets voted off the island out of Tucson, even though he started it all. He got everyone gathered there. And then Phil, like, apparently Phil was really threatened by him on more than one occasion. So he drops Phil off with like 2 days worth of food that he eats in 20 minutes in the middle of the desert, tells him to keep walking, and then Carol actually comes and bails him out, which seems stupid because now it looks like we're just going to go back to episode 2 in another town. And then the 2 ladies get Phil, and then Todd and Melissa are still together. So it's kind of like a bunch of the actors just said, we don't want to do this show anymore. And then the main girl are like, well, we still want to do the show. How do we fix this? Well, we'll just move you to another town. How's Tampa? I don't know. So they probably got like 2 more episodes at most in that show. If that wasn't the finale, I doubt it was finale. We need to set up, see where they're going to be at next. Once Upon a Time. I'm liking this. However, the author getting a little bit of autonomy is worrisome, especially when he voluntarily goes back to the Dark One. And Regina is risking Zelena doing whatever she wants to do. That's the thing. Like, I don't know how they're holding her prisoner, one. Because she was twice as powerful as Regina before. But now we got Lilith in the mix. And Emma. And they've got to balance those 2 out eventually, I would think. But I'm really enjoying Maleficent and Lilith's interactions, especially now they both can shift. Go watch that. Regina's kind of made peace with everything. She's got Robin Hood, even if Zelena is going to be a baby mama. I don't know. Like, I can actually see the happy ending coming, but I'm trying to see what they're going to do to make it interesting. Because all the author has to do is write the Dark One out of being the Dark One, or out of having a charred heart, or I don't know, like a dozen different things, and I just don't know what he's going to want to do. Hopefully he could write himself more ink. I think that would be the most prudent of things, because without that, he just becomes this kind of prisoner character, and now he's kind of like a freed genie, which is more than dangerous. All the flashbacks to Regina and her mom, I could have done without those, though. I think those are really weak this time. And having Nottingham and Regina have a history, like, that's not going to be interesting unless he shows back up. And then maybe he'd be the new police sheriff. I don't know. Or maybe he's been holding together while Emma's gone. I don't know. Castle. This is kind of funny. I know Castle's on ABC, and I want to say Saturday Night Live. It's probably on Comedy Central now, but I want to say it was NBC at one point. So like they had like a Saturday Night Live ripoff called Saturday Night Tonight. So there's a whole like murder scene on there, and so they were dealing with actors and their craziness, and I don't know, like, it was really heartwarming. It was very interesting to see like them pick out suspects from people who deceive for a living. But it's actually kind of a boring story once you got all the answers. Maybe most of them are like that, and I just don't see it all the time. But it was kind of fun to watch Castle geek out at Carly Rae Jepsen and then them dance. It was really cute. But I realize I do not like the method where you just arrest everyone and make up stories until something sticks. Like, no, like let's have the proof lead to conjectures, not conjectures leading to the answers. Like that would be nice. That concludes Hulu. Let's go over Netflix. I did finish Star-Crossed. What to say about this show? I don't know. I don't think having tattoos is enough to really make you alien. You really have to build the culture and everything, and that didn't really happen as strong as it needed to be. The idea that these people are readily mixed with humans brings about a dozen different questions. Mainly, are they actually humans that left Earth at one point and then have finally returned? They pointed out that there are more Atrians out there that were part of a different fleet. Because there was only one ship of Atrians that crashed, but there was a whole fleet there, apparently with warships and such. I don't know why you need warships unless there's other aliens to fight. So I'm kind of hoping for a little bit of that. It seemed like a little bit of Falling Skies coming into this show, because that would be fantastic. That's what this show really needs, because right now it's just a teen drama with, I don't know, a little bit of spy, CIA stuff mixed in. Because the whole Red Hawk, Trag, Atrian human thing, I don't know. It's by the end of season 1, it's kind of tiresome. It's like, yeah, we get it. There's things. And the Trag thing makes no sense, because there is next to no reason that anything the Trags did that was at all obvious wouldn't warrant the humans just decimating the Atrians altogether. Like, altogether, it's to be like, well, you guys have become a problem now. We're going to just kill you all because we can't figure it out. I don't know. Like, you need open integration. I like the sovereign nation of Atria or whatever. I like that idea. And then, I don't know. Give them an island. something. Having them where they are is just stupid. Like moving them out to like one of the Hawaiian Islands or something. Maybe that would make more sense. I don't know if they do well in salt water, but that would have made sense. And then obviously keeping track of them a little bit better than they have. If they were serious about them being a threat, I'm not saying they need to be tracked in the first place. If you're going to track them better than you fucking did, because that was fucking horrible. But we finally see someone like one of the main characters really get hurt, and we see people come together under that last hurrah of events. So I'd say overall the first season is definitely worth watching. Whether or not I would continue to watch season 2, like I would recommend watching season 2 and forward, I can't say. Because I think it's either hooked you by the end of season 1, or like I'd say it's ready to take a nap. And I personally want to see what happens extraterrestrial wise. Like I miss Falling Skies. I think that's really what it is. And Defiance. I really need to check up on those shows and see if the later seasons are out, because those are really good shows, and they had a lot of the alien Xenos drama that I'm missing. After Starcross, I did start in on the Secret Circle. I don't know, about probably halfway through. It has the girl from Ask Me Anything in it, so I was like, oh, I recognize her, and it might be good. I don't know. It's not my thing, but like, it's just interesting enough to keep me watching for now. But they just introduced Mage Hunters, or Witch Hunters, sorry. So at this point, I'm starting to go like, especially because they used the witch hunting witches thing for the Mage Hunters, and the Mage Hunters came to this town where they know there's a bunch of witches. So you would think that the witches that have practice, whether or not they're supposed to be, the Elder Council that apparently exists, and or the New Circle, would all be like too much for these fuckers. Especially with Nick being dead, and I think the witch hunting witches actually is the fill-in for that guy in the circle, because they need 6 to be as powerful as they can be. And then when Cassie showed up, that's what made it happen. And now with one of them dead, they've got to like replace him. I think that's just what it is. Yeah, we'll close this window. Okay, so that just brings us down to HBO Now. I do want to say something about this. It's like, I can't justify $15 a month for one show. I've got to start getting on my iPad and looking and seeing what else is available. I got to. I haven't yet, but I got to. I've been watching at my friend's house, but they're going to be moving, so then I'm not going to have them to watch it with, so I'm going to need someone to watch on my own, and I'm going to watch it. I don't want to pirate it. I want to watch as legally, keep as legal as possible. Oh, shit. Yep. Sorry, I just remembered we got Bad Movie Night tomorrow, and Forgotten King comes out, so that's a conflict of interest. But Game of Thrones, I don't know if I talked about the last couple episodes, but fucking Sons of Harpies. There's a whole interesting journey Tyrion's on. I don't know what's going to happen to Varric, if he's going to keep on to Queen Targaryen or not. But the besmirched knight, whatever his fucking name is, has Tyrion now, and he's taking Tyrion back to the Khaleesi, and that's where Tyrion wants to go, so he's happy, but he talks too much, so the other guy's not happy. And then Sansa needs to learn how to be cruel and a seducer of sorts, because she and Littlefinger cannot see the trouble that they're in with that mean little wench, his mean little girlfriend. And then I don't think we got any Arya this last one. I would like to see them take back Winterfell properly, but Baratheon's going to have to do it and then hand it over to Sansa, hopefully. The fact that the Fire Lady tried to seduce Jon Snow was kind of mean. She had nice tits, but that's all I could say about that scene, because I didn't find it very convincing. We determined that she must have some kind of magic amulet or something that makes everyone want to fuck her, because she's not like the greatest person. And just the idea of like just suddenly having boobs in your hand, I don't think it's enough. Even for the Night's Watch, especially after Ingrid, and he actually refuses. So I don't think it was that much of a dictation in the first place. But the big story is out east. Like even, I'm sorry, there's two big stories. There's the fanatics being armed in King's Landing. Cersei lost her damn mind with that one. I thought she was going to invoke paladins back, but no. Like, it wasn't anything as cool as that. They didn't get armor. They weren't knights of God. They were just crazy fanatical thugs with weapons. And the king rolls in there and can't do what he wants. Fuck that guy. He needs to get killed too. Jeffrey was too much the villain, but he's too much the baby. He's very naive about how anything works. He's openly manipulated by his mother. He's openly manipulated by his wife. She needs to rule. House Tyrell needs to rule right now until the Baratheons come in. Because the Lannisters are just going to get themselves killed. They're going to get all these other people killed in the process. Like, I like that they pulled that one politician out and like beat him down the street naked. I thought it was a little funny. Like obviously they caught somebody at something he wasn't supposed to be doing. But now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that's not the best, because now they're just running into the whorehouse every day, like pulling certain people out. They're threatening to gut and cut people for being gay or men on men loving. Like, I don't know why they took the one sexy redhead there. Like, they grabbed her by the hair and just dragged her out amongst everybody else. It's like, what are they planning on doing there? Like, were they getting a whore for the High Sparrow? I don't understand. I really don't want to see another redhead dead and naked somewhere. Maybe one, not the other, you know? But I don't. It's a shame. Way things are going. Okay, so the other big thing is the Khaleesi. Like, yeah, she still has the one dragon on the loose. She has the two in the basement, which pisses me off because she's not utilizing them. She's not being the mother of dragons. She's not practicing, which is the biggest thing with that. And she's got this town that's infested with fucking dissidents. Like, no, be ruling power. Like, leave the city. Be like, anyone who's on my side and wants to live under my rule, you're coming with me now so that we can do that. If you don't want this, stay in the town. Have your town back. Put each other in chains. Do what you will. And then once you leave and you get all your people out and all your supplies out, send the dragons in, burn and demolish the town and set it to rubble, and leave it in your wake and go to the next town. That way, you have something to point to and be like, look what happened to them. And I would, by all means, search all these newfound followers for Sons of Harpy masks, because that was some bullshit. But there are a bunch of, like, aristocratic wusses, too. I don't know what they were doing, picking up knives and swords. Like, they were fighting the Unsullied, and, like, the Unsullied were taking out, like, probably two to five each before they were taken down. But he tried to point out that they had spears. I'm like, no, like, if you're using it right, especially with shields, you're doing fine. But, like, they would just get mobbed, and then somebody would slit a throat because they're too cowardly to actually stab and fight. And they were getting cut down, so brave little bastards. I'm assuming they were hopped up on something. And then Barrister, whatever the old knight's name is, he went in there and he killed like 20 of them before he even started taking hits. And then the other guy came in, or was doing about the same from the beginning. I really hope those two make it out somehow. That would be awesome. And those Sons of Harpy bastards. I can't believe that. I can't believe you would hear about that massacre or be there and not just give up or run away. Like, I can't believe you'd be that fanatically driven to be like, no, we want slaves. there's some kind of religious connotation involved in it. I think it's actually a shot at Christianity, but I don't understand that. It wasn't explained very well, or at least not to the point where I remember. But I remember them being pissed that they tore down the statue to melt it down. But I remember the big thing being that it was, if I'm remembering correctly, aristocrats killing former slaves. And then the bullshit with like the former slaves actually wanting to be slaves and fighting gladiatorial pits. Not the first time that conversation came up. Be like, look, bitch, I already told you. Kill him and make an announcement. I don't have time for this shit. The line of people she was seeing was ridiculous. I get like maybe like you do it for a week because you just took over and you need to hear the claims of the people, and there's no structure for that. But after a week, you shut it down and be like, no more of this. This is how things are. Make the decrees. And I'm sick of this. You people will act civilized and you will act in the new way as I decree, or you won't. That's what being queen and being king is all about. Like you say what you want to do and you make it happen and you go, I'm the king. You're going to fucking do it. Because you're all sworn to me. And the only thing that validates that is the will of the people. So you can't just like do any old thing, but so as long as you're within reason and within your rights as royalty, like that's what happens. Or you act like you have morals and then you don't do it and then you get killed too. That's I think typically how it goes. It's like, no, my liege, I cannot take his head. You'll have to kill me as well. And then King goes, okay. But that's it. That's all I got in me for right now. I got to get up. It's a day tomorrow. So until next time, you'll see me then.